Today I got a story time with probably one of the most spoiled kids to ever exist. So let's just hop right into it. Subscribe if you like stories, and let's call today's subscriber. Let's call him Todd. So in Todd's neighborhood, Nerf guns were really like the big thing, and they had been like the big thing for a while, right? The last couple years, all the kids had been like collecting Nerf guns, and they go over to each other's houses or whatever. But this happened to be the last week of school, and on the final day, they had a really big kind of like Nerf gun fight, big whatever, right, thing planned, and it was planned in one of the kids' houses. And Todd was the one who had a lot of Nerf guns himself, and he supplied some of them. And the idea was that everyone would bring some Nerf guns or whatever, and like if you wanted to try someone else's, like whatever, you'd be able to rotate through. And it was basically like a big tournament because they had like casually played with each other, and they'd had some like 1v1s or 2v2s or even 3v3 at some point, right? But they'd never had. Sorry, my throat is not feeling so great. And so anyways, right, let's just skip forward to the day of the big Nerf battle royale type thing, kind of like a round robin type event. What I was trying to say earlier before my voice exploded, by the way, was that they've never really had a big tournament where everyone kind of fought against each other to see who really was like the best Nerf guy ever, whatever, right? It wasn't even that deep to most of them. And they basically included every kid in the neighborhood who is kind of close because, they can't be leaving one of the guys out. And there was one kid who lived in the biggest house at the end of the road, and he was known as the spoiled kid. Not because his parents made a lot of money, or I guess not a lot compared to life. I don't know, Elon Musk or, Bill Gates or someone, but a lot compared to like everyone else's parents, right? He wasn't known as the spoiled kid because he had a lot of money. I mean, I don't really think that's necessarily fair. I think it's how you act and how you use that money, if you use it for like, I don't know if it goes to your head or not, And the spoiled kid was definitely one of the kids where the money most definitely went to his head because he was always acting super entitled. He kind of acted like he had no perspective, which he really didn't, but he was kind of a jerk about it. But they didn't feel like they could really leave him out. And the parents were like, "Oh, you should invite so-and-so over or whatever." And they're like, "Fine, Mom." So sure enough, right, let's just skip ahead to the day. And it's the day of the big Nerf battle, and one of the kids, kind of irrelevant, sorry kid, one of the kids, it was at his house, and it was just a neighborhood kid, and everyone came over, and Todd, he got his backpack, he threw some of his Nerf guns in there. Todd had like 2 or 3 Nerf guns, and, he couldn't really get a lot. He didn't really get a new one for the last year because his parents were kind of like, they're having a tough moment, right, financially. So he really kind of had to conserve the Nerf guns that he had, but he wanted to bring over all the ones so that his friends could try out some of them if they didn't have them themselves. So sure enough, everyone gets there, and they all had their Nerf guns. The only thing that they weren't sharing were the Nerf bullets, which if you've ever played with the Nerf guns before, you know that those things, like, if someone brings them, how are you going to know that, like, those bullets are yours or whatever? And they always get lost in the house. So the kid who was hosting everyone said he'd supply the bullets, and his mom brought a big thing of, like, the foam Nerf bullets, like, bought it from, like, Target, like, recently. So they all supply, like, loaded up or whatever. There were some Nerf guns that needed specialized bullets, but, like, you remembered those if those were yours, like they were very different and you could pick them up. And anyways, right, the spoiled kid got there, and he literally, like, his mom dropped him off with a big crate, and he came into the house with a massive crate full of all the newest Nerf guns ever, all the newest contraptions, all the newest like Nerf gear, whatever. And everyone's like, "Whoa!" So everyone, of course, goes over and like tries to see whatever, look at all the new Nerf guns, try them out. And within like 30 minutes, like the guy who's hosting it, which is at the house, says, "All right, guys, we should really start the tournament." So they decide to start the tournament. They say, "All right, so this is a single shot elimination. If you are hit once, like, please, this is the honor system. It's not that deep. We'll play multiple rounds, but the first round in, we're going to play, like, if you're hit, please just, like, admit it. And, you're out if you're hit." So anyways, people disperse, they grab their Nerf guns, they fill it with Nerf bullets, and they start playing around, and sure enough, right, Todd snipes someone pretty perfectly, and they get hit, so, sure enough, like, they go down. The person, like, in the neighborhood, the random NPC in this story, right, he admits he got hit because, he got hit, and he also realizes it's a Nerf battle, and it's not that deep. However, right, a little while later, it eventually comes to a point where The kid who's hosting, right, shoots, the spoiled kid with a Nerf gun, and he gets him, right? The Nerf bullet kind of hits the kid in the leg, and the kid, and it's not like the back of the leg, so maybe the spoiled kid didn't realize it was the front of the leg. And also, the spoiled kid literally looked down when the thing hit him, looked at the bullet, and watched it roll on the ground after it hit him in the leg. What I'm trying to make clear here is that the spoiled kid saw that he got hit. Because shortly after, right, the guy, let's just call him Ben. We're bringing back that meme. I saw some of you guys feeling sad that meme was gone. Basically, the meme is, for you guys who don't know, whenever there's someone who I just need to give a name to, I always say Ben. So anyways, right, Ben, who is the guy who's hosting, is like, hey, dude, I got you. And the spoiled kid's like, no, you definitely didn't. And there was another kid who was kind of hiding, being like, time out, like, yeah, I definitely saw you got hit. And the spoiled kid's like, no, Ben just paid you off. And at this point, right, Ben's like, all right, guys. And he kind of like said, all right, we're time out. And everyone comes out, they're hiding or whatever. And Ben's like, dude, like, it's so, like, I saw that you got hit, right? And even over here, this guy points to Ben number 2. Okay, I'm not actually going to call him that, but he's like, this guy saw you got hit. Everybody here saw you got hit, bro. Like, you just got to, like, accept it. We're playing more rounds, dude. It's not even a big deal. And the spoiled kid is like, well, I'm not upset because I got hit. I'm upset because I didn't get hit, and you're cheating. And at this point, right, Todd, the person who sent in the story, which, by the way, you can send in stories to my Instagram or just follow it if you want to, right? It's in the description. Also, I'll be making an email soon. I've just been busy. I apologize for that. But anyways, right, at this point, Todd is realizing that there's a bit of tension growing in the room. And you could see that the spoiled kid was getting more and more kind of like upset. He was getting more and more angry. Instead of at this point kind of just letting it go and being like, well, we're playing more rounds of Nerf battles, like it really doesn't matter. Instead, the spoiled kid was like, I'm going to die on this hill if it's the last thing I do. Kind of that type of attitude. So sure enough, right, the Ben, the guy who's hosting it, wasn't really feeling like letting this kid get away with it because he, like Ben and basically everyone else there, kind of had the impression that kid was like super spoiled and always got what he wanted, and Ben wasn't about to give him what he wanted once again. He just didn't really feel like that's what he wanted to do. Real quick, comment spoiled down below. If you want a heart on your comment, that will be the secret word of the day. And also, if you want to support the channel, binge watch videos. Like after this one, go watch like 3 or 4 more. Please let me know if you're doing this in the comment section down below so I can heart your comment and say thank you, because genuinely that has supported me and the channel so much, and I really appreciate it, and I just want to say thank you. Anyways, back to the story. It's about to get crazy. And then, yeah, sure enough, the spoiled kid starts getting angrier and angrier, and Ben isn't backing down, and Todd is like, all right, this is getting a little heated in here. And the spoiled kid is like, you're cheating, and then points the kid next to Ben, you're cheating, and then turns around and points at Todd, I almost call him Tom. He's like, you're cheating too, and Todd's just like, bro, what? I just got down here, bro, what are you talking about? He's like, you're all complacent to cheating, which makes you the biggest cheaters of them all. I'm not gonna play with you guys anymore and let you use my cool stuff. And with that, the spoiled kid gets so angry, and remember, he's holding Todd's Nerf gun, which Todd only has 3 of, and his parents aren't in a point where they could buy another one. And the spoiled kid is like, screw you guys, kind of does like a Cartman type thing, but I don't know if he actually says that specifically, but he's like, you guys suck. And then he takes Todd's Nerf gun, lifts it above his head, and throws it on the ground as hard as possible. And it is a 2 or 3 year old Nerf gun, and those things are plastic, and with enough force, yes, you will break it. And sure enough, the Nerf gun is just thrown on the ground. It hits the ground. The middle cartridge type thing, the plastic that was holding it in, breaks, and the cartridge flies out. The handle is cracked, and the shaft barrel thing is splintered, and the Nerf gun is basically rendered completely useless. And Todd is just dude, that's 33% of my Nerf guns, bro, and I can't get another one. And the spoiled kid looks at Todd because he realizes that that was Todd's Nerf gun. He's like, just have your dad buy another one. And that was the words that the spoiled kid walked out of the door with. And yes, he left his big crate with all the Nerf guns in it. He was going to come by later to pick it up. He knew that they didn't dare, like, steal from him or anything like that. Yeah, so the spoiled kid walked out, and everyone's kind of looking around, and people kind of know, like, they're all at a point where they can't be spending a crazy amount of money. And, well, they're all kids. They're all, like, 12 or 13 at this point. Or at least that's what the subscriber said he was, so I'm assuming he's not playing Nerf guns with, I don't know, 30-year-old men who work at a bike store down the road, but who knows, man. Let's just make the assumption that they're all like 12 or 13, and when you're 12 or 13, dude, you're broke. $10 is a massive deal. Like, $10, and like, oh my god, like, Bill Gates, like, be prepared, I'm coming for the richest man in the world spot type, you know how it is, right? So they all, like, I mean, they're all in a point where they can't really buy that much, but they also kind of know of, like, Todd's parents' situation. They kind of had an idea. They didn't know how bad it was specifically, but they knew that, that Nerf gun that, the kid broke, the spoiled kid broke, wasn't going to be easily, like, replaced or anything like that. So they're all like, bro, we're so sorry. Like, you can always use one of ours. Like, and Todd, it was a very nice offer, and he thanked them for it. But there's a difference between being able to borrow your friend's Nerf guns, which they already did, and not having one of your own broken. Like, there's a big difference right there. So the mood of the whole Nerf gun event was kind of ruined. So they kind of like closed. I think they had one more round, but they were planning on having like 8 rounds and doing a real round robin tournament type thing. But they could just tell by the end of the second round that they just didn't have any energy left, as that totally killed the vibe. And Todd, left, and they all kind of left Ben's house. And when Todd went back home, he kind of explained to his mom, like, hey, Mom, like, this is what happened today. And she's like, oh, sweetie, like, I'm so sorry that happened. You do know that I can't buy you another one right now. And Todd's like, yeah, I 100% understand. Like, that's I didn't expect you to, and that's kind of why it's making me a little sad. And Todd's mom's like, well, I'm going to be really busy, but I know you have tomorrow off, and, the spoiled kid, it says his actual name, but spoiled kid, right? The spoiled kid doesn't live that far away. Maybe you can walk down, talk to, his mom, and maybe she'd be able to repay you for it. I know it's a little awkward, and maybe I would have done it myself, but I'm just really busy, and maybe she'd also have a bit more, I don't know, sympathy. God, I almost call it like the music thing. Sympathy for someone if they're coming over and they're like 12, and give her the puppy. Like, you know what, Todd? Give her the puppy dog eyes. Like, she'll give you like a nice little tip on that too. So Todd's like, all right, like, whatever. Next day rolls around. Todd walks down the street. He's like, this is going to be a little bit awkward, but I got to do what I got to do. So Todd, like, walks over, and he knows exactly where the spoiled kid lives, even though he's never been over to the spoiled kid's house, as he doesn't really like him that much, so they never really had sleepovers or anything. It is very clear which house is his. It is the big, massive house at the end of the street. So he opens up their kind of like fence or whatever, and he walks in, and the plants on both sides are beautiful, and there's someone mowing the lawn right now. The lawn is pristine. It's been a hot summer, or it is a hot summer since I guess it just started as school just ended, and everyone's lawn was kind of feeling it, but the spoiled kid definitely had probably the most expensive water bill, probably more expensive than half the houses on the street. They were keeping things looking luscious and wonderful, and Todd was like, okay, well, let's just get this over with. So he goes up to the doorbell, and he rings it, and he's like, all right, this is going to be super awkward if the spoiled kid shows up, but I'll have to deal with it. But thankfully, right, the spoiled kid's mom, or who Todd presumes is the spoiled kid's mom, maybe it's his nanny, but he finds out pretty quickly that it's not his nanny, shows up at the door. She's like, oh, Todd, like, how's it going? I heard that, I remember that spoiled kid, says his actual name, of course, but I remember spoiled kid was heading over to Ben's house to go play with his Nerf guns. I think he needs to pick them up at some point, but he said he wasn't really in a rush. And Todd's like, yeah, like, it was a lot of fun to play with him while we did. There's just one little detail I gotta talk about. And then Todd goes on to explain that the spoiled kid disagreed, quote unquote, with one of the rulings and got really upset and ended up breaking, Todd's Nerf gun. And Todd said that he was kind of in a position, or his family was in a position, where that Nerf gun really could not be replaced by them. And by the end of Todd's explanation, the spoiled kid's mom is like, oh, I'm so sorry. He's got a little bit of a temper. Gives a little laugh, is like, oh, my little spoiled kid. Like, he's a hothead, just like his dad. Ha ha ha. Then she just gives this little nervous look, and Todd feels extra uncomfortable. He's like, all right, now, I'm not your family therapy, bro. I just want my $40, or however much. I just want my money for my Nerf gun, bro. I don't want to hear this. And so sure enough, right, Todd's mom was, oh, just stay right here. Just stay right here. And she goes into the house, and Todd's kind of looking around, and, he's looking at the, the nice kind of like flowers and bushes around. And eventually she comes back, and she opens up her wallet, which is probably some like Hermes, Gucci, X, I don't know, Supreme Brick type wallet. And she opens it up, and she pulls out two 20s, which, Todd wasn't even really expecting, like, he's expecting like $10, if that. But, oh, $40? Like, he could probably buy a nice Nerf gun with that. Maybe a few extra Nerf bullets. Actually, I don't know how much Nerf guns go for these days. I haven't played with one in a while. Low-key, if my friends wanted to, I would 100% be down. But that's beyond the point. So he takes the money. He's like, oh, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. I really do. And, Todd is just like, all right, well, it was nice seeing you. And the spoiled kid's mom's like, wait, stay right here for one more second. And Todd's like, no, okay. And yeah, so sure enough, the spoiled kid's mom is like, spoiled kid, says his actual name, but says first name, last name, get down here right now. And you can hear like a little scream like, Mom, I'm playing Xbox. Well, I can barely do these voices with the condition my throat's in right now. Oh, my God. But eventually, spoiled kid's mom's like, I'm going to turn off the Wi-Fi if you don't get down here right now. And he's like, fine. And then he eventually comes down, and his hair's all matted, and he's like, whatever, he's in his sweats, it's a typical Sunday morning, you know how it is, right? It's summertime, it could be a Tuesday in the afternoon for all we know, right? Same situation. But sure enough, right, the spoiled kid's mom is like, I was just told that you broke, like, your friend Todd's, like, Nerf gun, and he's like, friend. She's like, stop it, and you know what, you're gonna be punished. And he's like, whatever, bring it on. And the spoiled kid's mom is like, for the next 15 minutes, you cannot play on the Xbox. And in Todd's mind, he was like, oh, so this is like a gag. Like this is kind of like a joke, a prank. This is like a gag punishment to make me laugh and to like throw him off. And then he gets the real punishment. And then Todd realizes, wait, no, that's the actual punishment. And he kind of expected the spoiled kid to, like, pretend to be upset and just, like, deal with it when he really realizes that he got off with a great, super easy punishment. But the spoiled kid is like, no, Mom, why? I need the Xbox. I need a nap. And the spoiled kid's mom is like, well, that's what you get for breaking stuff. You can't be breaking other people's things. It's not a good thing to do. And, the spoiled kid's like, Mom, no, I was in the middle of a game. And then the spoiled kid legitimately starts breaking into tears. And his mom was like, oh, honey, don't start crying. And Todd is just standing there like, this is both the most pathetic and awkward experience. Like, this is the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. And this is also the most awkward experience I've ever had to live through. Like, are you serious, man? Like, can you have a little bit of dignity in front of me? He didn't say that out loud, but that's what he was thinking. And sure enough, right, the spoiled kid is just like, oh, Mom, but I was in the middle of a Call of Duty game. Click on the video on screen right now. I know you'll enjoy it. Just click it. Do it.